about you. They want to give you publicity. I know, it's really interesting.
You just have Michael Jordan to compete against.
You know.
Smell him.
Smell him,
Exactly.
Food.
I think they'd rather smell than I.
All right, Tom, your turn.
So your turn.
My
Yes.
turn. I thought, Jeff, you didn't hear about you.
No,
Yeah, you were
actually.
doing a TV series.
Hey,
He told us about it.
Yeah, nobody wants to know about that. I just co-wrote and co-produced and played the lead in a half-hour comedy pilot that we're going to try to sell once we get it finally sweetened with music and sound effects and stuff. It's all put together now. But it's about 12. It's about 12 19 to 22-year-old blonde, flat-bellied, beautiful girls who sing and dance in a chorus line and wrestle in the main showroom of a casino in Vegas, and I play their slippery manager, sleazy manager.
Business not perfect.
And there's a dwarf in the thing that gets killed in the wrestling matches. He's the referee, and I desperately wanted to get one shot in this. We just shot this last week. I desperately wanted to get a shot where it doesn't mean anything, but where I'm just standing there and I'm watching something and I take a drink and just put my drink on the dwarf's head and walk away. The dwarf's going.
By the way,
Golden Ringers.
By the way, Jeff, I have to correct you because we are in Los Angeles and I am running this. It's little people. I have to be politically correct here, or I lose my deposit on the room.
Speaking as a short person, it's vertically challenged.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he prefers dwarf or little people. He said that specifically. That's the only reason I say that. You should hear the other names. But no, actually, I'm very respectful of that, and he's a great guy, and his head just fits a big tumbler. A black kind of bucket just is perfect. Of course, we haven't been looked at by the religious right yet. Pardon me?
Illegal about lady wrestlers, right?
It's about lady wrestlers, right?
I got plenty of mud in my backyard, brother.
No, there's no mud. There's no mud. It's not mud wrestling. It's
Real wrestling.
Regular wrestling.
well, but it's funny wrestling.
Yeah.
It's stage wrestling.
So who directed it?
Alan Godfrey, my partner, who was the exec on Vegas and Beretta and Quincy and Airwolf for a while, and a bunch of he created then came Bronson. Well, we'll have a final cut of it probably in about 3 weeks.
Well, you should invite me. I want to see it.
Okay.
I bet I'll laugh so hard.
Okay. Well, I'll bring it next time I see you in about 50 years. You find my contact, I'll show you the show.
What time's your show? You got picked up?
Yeah.
Stephen is doing great. Here's to Steve. Congratulations, brother.
We just premiered actually last week the first episode of the second season, and I know there's no other show probably on television that's ever been able to make this claim. We doubled our ratings from where we were a year ago.
Wow. Good for you, brother.
You can only do that on a network like the WB where you go from 4 share to 8 share. That's it. All the other networks are losing audience share at that time. We're the only ones.
Well, that's a great show, and you're wonderful in
So
it.
we're having a great time, and
Perfect for you.
I just.
You need a mechanic, though.
It's,
And a spy.
I mean, it's similar in that, I think all TV shows that succeed do create a family, whether it's an actual family or not. With MASH being the other kind of group, MASH being more like what we're doing with Gold Monkey. But it's a great group of people. I just love working with them, and I have a new book that's coming out next year.
Good. What kind?
Well, I
picture.
don't market it as a thriller.
I pictures.
I think of it as suspense, but they'll market it as some kind of.
How do you find the time to write?
I really don't know. It's really very, very difficult. I use every.
It's hard to believe that you can do that.
Yeah.
Working full time on series.
Well, I made a mistake really. When my first book came out and started so well, it was 3 summers ago. And my agent said, well, the publisher would like to make a deal to write another book. I had written the first book completely on spec, and nobody read it until it was finished. And so all my writer friends said, oh, this is the holy grail. I'm going to pay you to write a book you haven't written yet. So I made a really good deal, and I gave myself a year thinking that it would probably really take me about 4 or 5 months, and that way I would have some room for acting.
Yeah.
And since that moment have never been busier as an actor in 25 years. So that the book is finished about 2 years late, and will actually be published by a different publisher, because my original publisher just said, forget it, you're never going to finish this book. And so Morrow's going to publish it. I'm really happy. My editor is the editor-in-chief there.
Oh, that's good.
So that's all great. And I...
What's the name of it?
Well, it's a funny footnote for this group. I didn't know what to... I had a working title which I didn't like, and my agent called one day and said, I got the title for your book, Double Exposure, which is a great title for the book. And I said, that's great. I said, I heard it somewhere.
Yeah, really.
No,
Smell this.
No, wait a second. I couldn't think of where I heard it from, but I said, I know there's another book by that. I said, oh, it's all right, people repeat titles all the time, which is true. Stuart Woods is a friend of mine. He had a book called Heat that came out a couple years ago. I said, that's a great title. I said, it must be. This is the 7th book in the last 20 years called Heat. But about 2 weeks later, I was talking to Roddy, who I see all the time. I saw him last night. And who is very sorry he can't be here. But Roddy has written 4 coffee table books, 2 of which I'm in, called Double Exposure.
Oh,
Published by Morrow.
That's funny.
So I called Roddy and said, how do you feel about this? He said, oh, I don't care. He said, they're so different. He said, the very worst thing that'll happen is someone will buy your book, meaning to buy mine, and vice versa. So he actually has Double Exposure 5, which they're these big coffee table books.
They're photographs,
Yeah,
right?
the photographs,
They're photographs that he's taken, and then he has of celebrities that he's known, and then he has people do commentary on each other, like Bette Midler on Laurence Olivier, literally, and vice versa, and things like that. And they're wonderful books. He has another one coming out next spring. At the same time, Morrow will also they'll publish 2 books called Double Exposure.
That's funny.
There should be Double Exposure 6 then.
That's right.
Double
You should just call it Double Exposure 6. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Butterfield
Wonderful.
First exposure.
Fahrenheit 451.
Zero.
No exposure.
I mean, I have
Not
a...
enough exposure. This is my resume.
Full exposure. And I have a daughter who's turning 8 next month.
Is she taller than Thea?
She's close. She's left.
Yeah. Wow.
Bill Battersby